Hello and welcome to Narrowboat Chef. Today in the menu we are doing profiteroles.
This recipe was suggested by one of our patrons and decided I love making profiteroles anyway, and we both enjoy eating profiteroles.
Doesn't enjoy eating profiteroles.
Yeah. So I thought, why not? They're quite easy to make, a little bit time consuming, but otherwise quite simple. So let's get cooking.
Let's get cooking.
So to start off with, we're putting 240 mils of water into our pot. And then 80 grams of butter. A pinch of salt. And we're just going to bring that to the boil. Once the water and the butter has been brought to the boil, sift in the flour and mix that in with a wooden spoon. You'll want to continue cooking this mixture out until it starts leaving the sides, and that will help cook out the flour. So you need to let this mixture cool down for a few minutes. We're about to add some eggs, and if you add them while it's still too hot, they will cook too quickly, and we don't want that to happen. While you're letting that mixture cool down, you can preheat the oven, and you'll need to preheat that to 215 degrees Celsius or 420 degrees Fahrenheit, which is also gas mark 5 on those of us who have gas ovens. So let it cool down for a couple of minutes and then add the eggs in one at a time and mix them through. So every time you add an egg, it will kind of make the mixture go really funny looking. That's completely normal, just keep working it in and it will eventually come back together.
Once you've incorporated all of the eggs, you should end up with a slightly sticky mixture.
So I've just put my piping bag in a cup or a mug because it just makes it easier to fill the piping bag.
Fill the piping bag with the still warm mixture that you've just made.
I'm just going to lightly grease my tray. Once I've got my piping bag ready, I'm going to cut off a relatively large corner. Obviously, if you've got actual piping bag equipment, you don't need to worry about cutting things. You just use a relatively large nozzle, yeah, piping nozzle. And now I'm just going to pipe out some ping pong ball sized blobs of this dough. Now that they've been piped out, I'm just going to gently press down on the tops so that they're not so pointy. We want them to be relatively round.
Put the profiteroles into the oven for 20 to 25 minutes until they're golden brown.
Once the profiteroles are in the oven, we're going to start making our creme patissiere, which is also known as pastry cream. So this sort of cream is used in pastries, as the name suggests. Firstly, I'm going to sift my 30 grams of plain flour into a bowl. Then I'm going to add 80 grams of preferably caster sugar, but we've only got granulated. Also going to add 2 egg yolks. We're not going to use the whites for this recipe, so you can set them aside for something else. Now I've also got 300 mils of milk. We're just using rice milk, but normally it's normal cow's milk, but this also does work. Now I'm not going to put the whole 300 mils in, I only want to put 10% of this in, so 30 mils. So,
a splash basically.
Splash.
Splash.
And now I'm just going to mix this up quite well. The rest of my milk, I'm just going to add it to a pot.
Bring the milk to the boil and then remove it from the heat.
Once the milk has boiled, just add it straight into the flour egg mix. And give it a stir. I'm just going to add half a teaspoon of some vanilla essence and just stir that in, and then just pop it back into the pan. So pop the mixture back over the heat, and we're going to bring it to the boil while continuously stirring it, because it will start to thicken and it will start to stick to the bottom of the pot. And then once it's been brought to the boil, we're just going to continue cooking it for another 2 to 3 minutes and then turn it off. Okay, that's pretty much done, so I'm going to turn my heat off. And it's become almost a custard kind of consistency. That's what you want. Pour the creme patissiere into a container and cover it gently with a piece of plastic wrap, and place the plastic wrap directly onto the custard, as this will help prevent a skin from forming on top of the custard. And then you just want to pop that straight into the fridge for about an hour so that it can cool down completely.
When the profiteroles are done, remove them from the oven and leave them out to cool completely.
It's been about an hour and my profiteroles and my creme patissiere have cooled down. So next step is to make some small holes into the bottom of the profiteroles, and we're going to pipe some creme patissiere inside them and then dip them into some melted chocolate to finish them off. So I'm going to use a small knife to make some holes in the bottom of these profiteroles. Normally if I had a proper piping bag and nozzles, I wouldn't bother about making a hole because the nozzle will make a hole for it. It's just a small hole, just so I can get the piping, my replacement piping bag inside.
Spoon the creme patissiere into a piping bag.
Now I'm going to cut quite a small hole into this piping bag. Again, if you had proper nozzles and piping bags, then you would just use a small nozzle. I have ordered a proper piping bag and nozzle, but I don't have them yet. Then just pop the tip into the hole, and we're just going to push some of that cream to fill the profiterole. And you will feel it get heavier and start to fill up with the cream. And just continue doing that until all the profiteroles are filled. I'm going to melt some chocolate, even though it's
halfway there.
It's halfway there. It's quite warm today. And I'm going to melt it in a glass bowl over a pot of water.
It's
Oh
so
my gosh.
flexible.
That'll do. When you're melting chocolate, you just want to be careful that you don't get any of the water that you are melting it over into the chocolate.
Makes your chocolate all seize up.
Yeah, makes it bad chocolate.
Makes it bad chocolate. You want nice chocolate.
Nice chocolate. You don't want the water in the pot underneath it to be furiously bubbling away. So if it does start to get too excited, just turn the heat down on your stovetop, because it doesn't need much heat to melt your chocolate. But the water just creates a gentle heat to melt the chocolate over. That way you're not going to burn any chocolate. Once your chocolate's all melted, turn it off and you're ready to dip your profiteroles. When our chocolate is all melted, we're going to start dipping our profiteroles in to give them a nice chocolatey top to them.
So there you have it. That's our profiteroles topped with chocolate.
As I said, they are quite simple to do, but they do take time. They are time consuming. So if you would like the recipe for our profiteroles, check for the link in the description below. If you click that, it'll take you to our website, which has all of our recipes on it.
If you try them out, take some photos and pop it on our social media. We do like looking at those.
We'd love to see those.
And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Bye!
Bye! Not those ones. You did these ones.